And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Homestead Miami Speedway in Homestead, Florida. We're here for qualifying for race number 2 of season number 3 of the Cabela's Cup Series, qualifying for the Genesis Medical 400 here at Homestead. First car on the track is going to be the 95 defending Cabela's Cup Series champion, Kanan Biller. Second off is going to be duel number 2 winner from a couple weeks ago, Charlie Davenport. Ethan Lewis in the 51 and Keegan Thompson, the 46, who almost swept Speed Weeks. He's coming out there in the 46 car. We'll track Kanan Biller here as we go around. This is going to be a 15-minute session. We do have a couple of hot seat drivers in this. It's the top 2 finishers from the Scott's National Daytona race, the Castrol 300 rather. It was the 31 of Max Anderson who finished second to the driver who's going to be in the 91. We'll wait to see. He's not out yet, I don't think. There he is. Joshua Harrison in the 91 who won the Castrol 300. He comes out onto the track as people are starting to put laps down. They will get quicker as the session goes on. Some started behind the start-finish line, or their pits behind the start-finish line, so that's why they're in the 46s. And the first true practice lap, or qualifying lap, will go to Kanan Biller with a 29.162, bettered already by Keegan Thompson, and now Ethan Lewis goes to the top of the charts, and Thompson will actually be on the top of the charts there with a 28.662 for that all-star speed team bunch in that 46. So they're bringing another fast car here to Homestead Miami Speedway. Keegan definitely going to be a favorite to win this race, as he has already shown some speed with that 46 team so far this season. Won in New Smyrna, then backed it up with a dual win at Daytona. Almost won the Daytona 500, but finished 5th to Benny Watson, who actually won that race. But now on the top of the board early on, as well as his teammate Darian Arnsdorf in second in that 14 car by exactly 1/10 of a second. And Thompson will now better his time with a 28.313. Ethan Lewis to the second place on the board with 28.472. So the top 10 right now looks like Keegan Thompson, Ethan Lewis, Jacob Thibodeau, Darren Armstrong, Joey Hightower, Trey Wright, Kip Silverpoint, Brad Crawford, Charlie Davenport, and Eric Monaco. The top 10 all within 0.3 of a second of each other, but Keegan Thompson very clearly showing the way with his 46 team, and now even quicker, a 28.283. Keegan Thompson absolutely flying here at Homestead Miami Speedway. He's going to come up on this group of cars here, and this is going to be indicative of what the racing is going to be like here. Obviously, the car's performance will not be truly seen here in this race, but this qualifying session, but this kind of racing here that will go on, very close side-by-side racing, you're going to see a lot of that in the Genesis Medical 400. Meantime, to the top of the board, 28.193, Darian Arnsdorf. Team owner driver for All-Star Speed Team, teammate to Keegan Thompson, and they are still 1-2 on the chart with 11 minutes to go in this session. The highest of the uncharted drivers right now, looking to see where they are. Car 91. Joshua Harrison is currently 5th on the board right now, and the 31 of Max Anderson is sitting in the 23rd position. So Harrison pretty much picking up right where he left off now as he goes back down to 8th, but still inside the top 10 with that 91 uncharted car. That is a solid time, 28.401 for Harrison, as he is now down on the pit road. He could be one to watch out for on race day here, or race night rather, is this going to be a night race? Meantime, as the positions continue to shuffle around, one guy we see up there is Samet Oskin in the 83, third on the board right now for Trinity River Racing. Put in a good 28.283, tied with Keegan Thompson. But Keegan will probably better that this time around, or later on in this run, as he's come off the pit road from adjustments. He's taken his speedy fast 46 back out on the track. Maybe that's why they call it our all-star speed team, because they are speedy fast here at just about every track they go to. With Darian leading the way right now in qualifying, Keegan in fourth right now, tied with Samet Oskin. But Keegan will get the advantage there because he got there first. So we'll flip that around after the session wraps up here. And Ben Grorch in the 78, another guy we want to give a shout out to. Sitting in the second position is teammate Kanan Biller, the 95, the reigning champion. But Ben actually owns this team. And he's taken his 78 car and put it second fastest here in qualifying with a 28.260, 700ths off of Darren Arnsdorf's time, but still 8 minutes and 36 seconds to go, so things could still change. I didn't think they'd change after the 11-minute mark, but they still did. So we'll see what happens here. Samet Oskin looked like he was going to have a good time there, but Keegan Thompson got in the way there going into the turn. Oskin down on the low line. He's going to not quite better his time. These guys are all in a group now, so it's going to be extremely difficult now to get a better lap time being crowded on top of each other, especially as we've gone later in this run. And you don't see people getting better times this late in the qualifying session typically, so we'll just have to see what happens here as Thompson's going way down to the inside behind Ryan Durrani. I think that may have actually hurt him, and he will not better his time, but neither did Samet Oskin. They're all right there in this bunch here. Ben Grorch will now try to go for a slingshot on the inside. He's trying to get the top position from Darren Arnsdorf. So defending race winner Benny Watson in the 53, he started 39th, I think? I can't remember off the top of my head, but he started way, way deep in the field and came through and won at Daytona. Daytona's a track you can do that with. It's a little harder to do at Homestead. Right now he is sitting 26th on the board, so not a terrible qualifying lap for our Daytona 500 champion, but not a good qualifying lap either. But everyone is staying really close to each other. I'm shocked. Everyone is inside 28.5, so, or inside 28.6. They're all within half a second of each other, and that is impressive. Last guy up in qualifying right now, or last on the board, is Kanan Biller, the 95, defending champion. There he is. In this bunch behind Joshua Harrison and in front of Kip Silverpoint, defending Scott's National Series champion, who sits 27th on the board. Didn't have a particularly good Daytona 500, neither one of these champions from late last year, but coming in here looking to have a stronger footing going into the rest of the season. And if they don't get their season turned around soon, they may not be eligible for the championship at the end of the season. You can not do well the first 3 or 4 races, but after that, if you don't start doing well, it's panic time. Essentially, you've got to start doing well at some point. And I think Kip Silverpoint was dangerously consistent last season, so I think she'd have a shot to at least be in contention for this championship. But we'll see. The rookie of that 68 car, she might be due for a rough season here. But Kanan Biller all but dominated the season last year in the Cabela's Cup Series. Got 2 wins, one in the Daytona 500, the other in the Smokehouse Barbecue 400 at the Kansas Speedway. That was with Ford power. He's gone to Chevrolet team here in the first of the custom era. Team Ninja Rapids there with Ben Grorich. And he is 41st fastest now. He actually overtook Ben Young in the 42, who now falls to 42nd. And meantime, the pole lap has not changed. It is still Arnsdorf on the top of the board with a 28.193. And now under 5 minutes remaining. I don't know if anybody is going to overtake that time. We'll just have to see what happens here in these final few minutes. There's Ben Young stuck on the outside in that number 2 Apple Chevrolet. The first time that Apple will come on board of that Blackout Motorsports car. He's had DeWalt on for New Smyrna and the Duels and the 500, but now Apple will come on board of that number 2 car. Still last of the session right now with a 28.550, but Ben is a very good driver and he's got veteran experience. This is his 3rd year in the Cabela's Cup Series. So we will see, or third season, not 3rd year, but we will see what he can do here from potentially starting last here. It looks like it's going to be that way unless he can get a quicker time and overtake some of these guys. Another guy we want to look at is Ben Crouch, who had a tremendous late charge in the Season 1 finale to win the championship, taking down Mike Cook. And he is 13th fastest right now. And while he's never won yet in the Cabela's Cup Series, never won a race, but he's won a championship. Starting 13th, that might be a pretty good spot to start from if he wants to get to the front and take the victory in the Genesis Medical 400. There's going to be a lot of overtaking going on. It's going to be a crazy race later on. And Ben Crouch, I really think maybe one to look out for with this single car 74 team. Speaking of single car teams, Beverly Creed is coming off of a runner-up finish in the Daytona 500 for Hamill Racing Enterprises, currently sitting 38th on the board right now with a 28.504. Not a terrible lap for Creed, but definitely not one that she'll be accustomed to starting from once race time comes around at Homestead. Kind of hung out at the front for most of the race, whether it was due to that pile-up in the early parts of the race or not. She was able to hang out inside the top 5 for a majority of the latter part of the race. And almost won it coming off that final turn. Unfortunately, lap traffic got in the way, and that's what ultimately gave Benny Watson the victory, as he was able to get around on the outside. But Beverly Creed looking for redemption here for the rest of the season and going forward down the road here at Homestead Miami Speedway, as we are now inside 2 minutes to go. And still nothing has changed, looks like, inside this top 10 for the last several minutes. It's still Arnsdorf, Grorch, Osgen, Thompson, and never mind, up to second on the board, Ryan Durrani in the 34 with a 28.205. He's come to life early here in qualifying. Taking a look at the uncharted guys again, Joshua Harrison is 18th to Max Anderson in the 31, who is 40th right now in that Yoo-Hoo Toyota for Chimera Racing. So it looks like Harrison is going to have the clear advantage for the uncharted boys here. But they're going to have some stiff competition on race night here for the Genesis Medical 400, the 54-lap showdown here on the high banks of Homestead. And, of course, later on this week, or earlier on, depending on when it's scheduled, is Chevy Indy Kyalami for the CarQuest Indy Racing League at the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit in South Africa. And that is going to be a fantastic race for sure. Strategy-based for sure. But it is going to be fun strategy, no doubt, as strategy always is on those road courses. Sam and Osgen going wide there. Looked like they were getting around Benny Watson, the 53, who was coming onto the pit road. Osgen looks like he's going to scrape the wall a little there. Not much damage on that 83 though, so he might be okay. As some cars coming down on the pit road for final adjustments here in the final minute of qualifying, or final 30 seconds, depending on how many overtime cycles it gives us. Time rounding down, it looks like it's going to be Darian Arnsdorf who is going to take pole position here at the Homestead Miami Speedway with a blistering 28.193 for All-Star Speed Team, the team he owns. And as the time ticks down, we'll have one more session, so they will come around one more time, one more timer cycle. So we'll see if he's going to get overtaken. I don't think he will, unless Durrani has something to say about it. He's the closest one. In these final 15 seconds, not going to happen. And it looks like Davenport is blown up there on the inside, so he'll have to go to a backup motor potentially. As now they have come to an end. The qualifying is over. And Darren Arnsdorf will be on the pole for the Genesis Medical 400. Ryan Durrani rounding out in second. Ben Grorich third. Keegan Thompson is actually going to be in fourth ahead of Samad Oskin because he got there first. Titan Nicholas in sixth. Mitchell Collins seventh. Ethan Lewis eighth. RJ Rosero ninth. And Sophia Fragniti rounds out the top 10. And we'll look at the rest of your finishing results here for qualifying. Finishing or qualifying 42nd, Ben Young in a 2 car. That didn't change after in the last few minutes of that session. So he'll roll out from the 42nd position aside the Season 2 champion, Kanan Biller. Season 1 champ, Ben Crouch, rounding out in 14th. He's going to be one to look out for again, but starting on that outside, it may be a little more difficult now. So that's going to wrap us up here for qualifying for the Genesis Medical 400. We'll see you for race day, and until then, y'all have a good one.